Have a few minutes? You won't believe what you can do with it. Open a Regions checking account online in as little as 5 minutes. Then enjoy award-winning service and banking tools and tech that help you live in the moment. Learn more at regions.com/live in the moment. Regions Bank, member FDIC.
Broadcasting live from the Subaru of Gwinnett studio inside the Sonesta Gwinnett Place Atlanta Hotel. It's time for Gwinnett Business Radio. Gwinnett Business Radio is presented by Regions Bank. Brave the beginning. Member FDIC.
And greetings and salutations, everybody. It is your slightly annoying host, Stephen Julian. Welcome to another fantastic edition of Gwinnett Business Radio here on Business RadioX. By my side is my safety, my co-host. It is Harper LaBelle. Greetings, Harper.
I wasn't a safety. I never played that position. I was more of an offensive guy, so
you're my
tight
safety.
End, lineman.
You're my safety.
Receiver, quarterback at one point or another.
You're my quarterback.
Yeah.
You're the quarterback of this show.
Well, no, you're the QB of the show. I'm the guy that I'm the ball boy that brings the ball in and puts it down and lets you throw it all over the place.
You are my line of support. Apparently, you and I need to go to counseling after this show, so let's get into the show. And we have fantastic guests who are really the star running backs and wide receivers of the show. Correct?
Yeah, they're going to be amazing. We're going to learn a lot today. Yep. It's not going to take much for me to learn anything, but I think we're really going to get a lot of facts and figures and some things that are fantastic.
We are excited to have Jessica Holden and Debbie Johnson from the Gwinnett County Public Schools, both the science and the math department. They are the directors of the science fair. Before we get to them, Harper, I want you to remind everybody about our fantastic studio sponsor.
Yeah, our guests today, they're probably not as emotionally involved. They need facts, figures. They need, science behind it. So when you say love is what makes a Subaru, they're probably saying a positive ionic experience is a little bit better. You can enjoy the big savings and hassle-free experience of Subaru of Gwinnett. It's where people sell cars. You can visit SubaruofGwinnett.com and join their family today. You can see the 2023s that are on lot. 2022s are still available. You can get a great deal on that. Or maybe even a previously enjoyed Subaru or other vehicle. Visit SubaruofGwinnett.com. You can go online, you can go in person, or use that thing that you have in your purse or pocket all the time. It's called a cell phone. You can call and get more information.
Fantastic. Well, let's have a positive ionic experience with our guests in the as we talk to them. Again, Jessica Holden, Debbie Johnson, they are the directors of the science fair. Jessica is with the science department. Debbie is with the math department. Sometimes they're competing, but today they're sitting together at the table to talk about the science fair. Ladies, welcome to the studio.
Thank you so much for having us today.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, thank you.
So I'm going to let both of you decide how you're going to start off by just telling us about the Gwinnett County Public Schools Science Fair. Tell us about it. When is it this year? How long has it been going on? Where's it held? Just give everybody a nice summary of the science fair.
Well, it is our favorite thing to talk about, so thank you so much for that. It is in its 45th year. We've had 45 years of Gwinnett Regional Science Fairs here locally, which is a great celebration. This year it's going to be February 24th at the Gas South District Convention Center, and we can't wait. We're an international affiliated science fair, so we are the most competitive in the world, one of the biggest in the world, and we're so excited to see what our kids do back in person.
Jessica,
COVID.
You don't look a day over 45. Come on, you're in your mid-20s, aren't you?
I appreciate that.
It's been around a while. So, and how long have you been involved with the experience itself? And when did you get started?
Yeah, both Debbie and I have been involved in various roles with the science fair since about 2014. It's had several great directors and a great history over time, but we've been there almost a decade working with the fair. So it's really exciting. We've seen it grow, go through COVID, which was a little bit of a challenge where we had to do some things digital. But this year we're back in person, and we couldn't be more excited.
Debbie, let me ask you, for someone who's never been to the science fair, can you paint a picture of what someone would experience when they walk into the convention center? Give us an idea of the spectrum and what specifically they would see.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's a really energizing experience when you walk in. So what you're going to notice is when you enter the Gas South District, we have kind of two different things happening at the same time. So our students have an expo center where they're setting up their projects. The energy is high. They're getting ready, really ready and anxious for the judges that are going to come and talk to them about their projects. What's exciting about this is they're going to get to talk to professionals, STEM professionals that really have an expertise in what they've been studying at their schools. Now, outside of that, we also have different breakouts that are happening at the same time. So while some students are in the Expo Center getting ready to be judged, there's others that get to meet with professionals and really do interactive sessions and breakouts with our STEM community as well. And so the energy's high. They are moving constantly. We have about 1,000 people between the students that are there, the judges that are there, and then all of our CNI family, which is our curriculum and instruction family that helps volunteer for the day.
Is there loud thumping music? Because Stephen really likes that when he's getting energized.
No, that's what you like. I
fair.
like food. You like the loud thumping music.
I got it wrong already?
Yeah, I think so, but that's okay.
So
let's let them.
We will have a little bit of that in this year in particular. We're taking a play off of Team GCPS, so we really consider this for our students their big sporting event in the science world. So it's exciting for them. So we've actually got a drum line coming. We're going to have some energy as they enter from our schools. We're partnering with Shiloh High School, and they're going to be there to invite and create that energy as everyone walks in.
Is this a high school only event at this particular, or this is elementary, middle school, high school, or all represented?
This is one of the only K-12 regional fairs that exist. Now, the elementary competition is a little different. My great partner, Kristen Luthi, she's not here with us today, but she supports the elementary side. Really exciting opportunity for kids to more so showcase their thinking around local problems that our businesses have provided. There's not an official affiliated competition for students that young, but our middle schools and high schools are competing for spots at the state fair and our high schools at the international fair. So it is a really robust K-12 event, but really competitive for the 6-12 kids in middle and high school.
So our studio is Business RadioX. This is Gwinnett Business Radio. I assume something like this, as great as the teachers that are involved in it and you guys leading it do a fantastic job, I would imagine there's some interaction with the business community. February 24th this year, but in future years, if it's too late to get involved now, what are some of the ways that businesses are currently involved and can continue to be involved or start being involved for those listening who go, yeah, I want to get involved in helping the science fair?
Absolutely. There's different levels, and I'll let Debbie talk a little more about the judging component, but really thinking about any year, since this is an annual event, we really rely on sponsors to help us run the event. We are a school system, and we happen to run what I'll call one of the biggest science big games or Super Bowls of science out there. So we really do need our community in terms of sponsorship for the event and expertise when it comes to the breakout sessions that Debbie talked about. We've had folks from various businesses all around, but I'm going to plug a few of our great sponsors. PCOM Georgia is our presenting sponsor. They've really supported from the academic side, Jackson EMC. We've got Amazon this year. We've got Boehringer Ingelheim. A lot of science and STEM, but a lot of also just community business partners come together and want to be a part of this great event for students. So in terms of sponsorship levels, there's scholarships, there's different opportunities for folks thinking any year, but right now our biggest need really is judges.
Yes, so it's not too late for judging. So we still are looking for judges. We're hoping to expand our judge pool right now as we are thinking through what those next steps are. We can have anyone sign up at any time. So we actually have a website, and it is year-round. It's called GwinnettScienceFair.com, and any judge can come to sign up to be part of the fair, whether it is this year or if they're not available for this year, it's an annual event. So they can sign up at any time throughout the year, and we welcome them to come and join us.
Is there a quiz or a test they have to take to show any kind of competency in science and math to judge?
Well, we do look for some expertise when it's coming to it. There's 21 different projects.
You'd be the corruptest judge. All I'd have to do is bring you a donut. You go, yeah, you're going to win. Maybe two donuts, but at least I'm going away with a ribbon. And
if they gave you a CD, then you'd.
It has to have thumping music, though.
Thumping music.
Yeah. So. You mentioned the business aspect of it, Jessica. I would imagine a lot of businesses would love recruiting some of these really smart, bright kids that have original ideas and help businesses to grow in the local area and colleges, right? I'm sure there are a lot of different universities that say, I would really like you to come and study with us. Tell us a little bit about that experience.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, thinking about some of our most recent projects even, we've had different judges walk away and say that they want to follow up with this kid because their idea is going to revolutionize whatever field they're in. It's just really an exciting opportunity.
It kind of strikes a nerve with what the business is doing anyways.
Yes,
does that make sense?
It does. Yeah. It does. And we've actually had some formal competitions within the fair. There's, of course, course, the place awards, but then there's some special awards that our judges go out and they're seeking from, especially our high school kids who are 18 and about to enter college or career. They're looking for what are these kids doing and how can they help. So we've had a award series called Innovation in Action, where our businesses can say, ooh, we want to learn more about this project, and they bring the project in and they've had the project pitch their idea like a product to them, kind of a Shark Tank or an innovation expo where they really learn a little bit more. And we've had some of our projects be able to get some funding and some support from the community to actually try to step their way towards making it a product, whether it's something, you know, with machine learning or it's a prototype for a biomedical device. We've had some really good projects out there that our communities wanted to say, we want to learn more from you, but we want to help you make your product possibly something that can go to market.
So I'm going to ask this question. You know, when off air we were talking, I think people have an image of the science fair. This science fair has been around for 45 years, is one of the best in the country, and I think people have this image from TV or movies, and we were half joking about it. Well, actually 100% joking. I believe Harper mentioned the Mentos and the Coke, you know, is the level you think. I was thinking of baking soda, volcanoes, and you know, the solar system suspended. I think that everybody's got those kind of pictures, but you mentioned a couple things, so I want to ask you guys, as the directors of the science fair, maybe give us a couple of examples from the last few years of things that people wouldn't expect from a science fair that was either just way out of the box or thinking on a different level, or just, wait, high school students, middle school students did that? Give you guys each share a couple of examples that are near and dear to your heart.
Yeah, it's amazing. You know, with kids walking around with cell phones now, they've got a device in their pocket at any time. So we're seeing a lot of apps and things that kids develop that could really be very simple devices or solutions to problems. So a few years ago, we had a project that went all the way to the International Fair. Student, just amazing job, really programmed an app that used machine learning algorithms to detect when a seizure was going to occur in a mammal. He used dogs as his focus because it's a little harder to research on humans, but worked closely with some university professors, some vets to make sure that it was done correctly, but really tried to predict different neurological activity and seizures in dogs. I mean, just amazing. This past year, a student from Peachtree Ridge High School was able to work closely again with some university folks in the medical setting, looking at PET scans and being able to identify early precursors of Alzheimer's and different neurological disorders in ways that were so unique that we're currently not doing in the radiological field. So these are things that kids are doing, but I think, you know, that's kind of the high end of thinking about our high school. There's some fun projects too. Debbie, do you want to kind of share a little bit about some of the fun things that we see kids do?
Well, I think what I was thinking about, coming from the math field, sometimes I don't think as much about what does a science fair project look like. And what surprised me.
There. Can you sense that, Stephen?
No,
I don't even think about.
She starts quoting multiplication tables. I'm going to shut her down. But go ahead.
No, I appreciate seeing the math in the projects, but what we're really noticing is the students are really bringing to life things that are relevant to them, and then they're using science and that lens of science to answer it. So we're seeing a lot of applications. I've been amazed at the different apps that the students are able to so quickly create, and they're solving a problem that's relevant and meaningful to them. And so sometimes in our middle school world, it's a smaller scale, but what's been interesting is we have a few of them that actually expand into high school and take that same project for multiple years. And so by the time they get to high school, it is something that really is ready to go out to be a product base. But they start where it's more just what's something that's meaningful to me as a middle school student.
Let me ask this question too, and again, just a little bit more outside the box. I heard you mention in one of the answers earlier about, you know, introducing themselves, whether it's to corporations or to colleges. I'm thinking also specifically of the science fair and as it applies maybe to the trades. I think sometimes the trades, which, by the way, is making a vast resurgence simply because there's such a shortage of people willing to do that kind of work. But there is such an opportunity in the trades. Have you guys been able to see some projects that, you know, apps are great and holy cow, recognizing Alzheimer's, I mean, that's fantastic. But there's also a space in science and math for, maybe a 4-year degree isn't the best route for me, or maybe I can get a trade skill first. Have you guys been able to see some of that through some of the projects in years past?
Absolutely. I think we have a really great relationship with our CTAE department. They serve on our advisory board, and we have...
For those who don't
Yes.
know the acronyms
I don't
of
know-
the
I don't know,
educational
yeah.
system,
Career and
CTA.
Technical Academies Education
Thank you.
are folks who do great work over there. And they have pathways for our high school kids to develop learning and then even get some certifications before they leave high school, which is phenomenal. And so we've really tried to tap into, especially the engineering, the healthcare sciences, those pathways for kids who may be going on to college, but they may be going directly into a certified nursing assistant role or going into an electrical field, an electrical engineering field. So we've really tried to build those partnerships and really help our schools see the opportunity for all those projects. Because I think, we all have that vision, like you said, of, what a dusty either library or gym science fair with big poster boards and kids doing theoretical research or volcanoes or Mentos. But really, we've had some really great applicable projects. So whether it's an engineering prototype, or we had one young lady who was interested in fashion design, and she actually developed a fashionable knee and elbow cover that she could wear during her soccer games that had the right level of protection and friction with the type of turf we have on our fields here in Gwinnett. Just a different style science project, not an app, not an engineering project, but she loved fashion and she wanted to wear something that looked good and kept her elbows and knees from being skinned. And she did a bunch of research on textiles and on clothing and what currently makes up a lot of these products that you could buy at the sporting goods store, and she thought she could do better, and she did. And the judges were just wowed by her passion.
That's
it was really
fantastic.
Great.
That's fantastic. So we've gone from apps and AI and machine learning to, I want this to look good, but I want to keep my elbows and knees from getting all skinned up on the artificial turf.
I would imagine that it's probably even as early as the K2, 3, 4 level. One of the things that I do daydream a lot, but while you were talking about that, how kids can help find problems that kids go through that an adult can't. You see a lot of that as well, where they solve their own problems in a way that's very unique, and they get rewarded for it, don't they?
Absolutely. Even thinking, young, like you mentioned, our elementary kiddos, one of the problems that they're approaching this year is how can they express their emotions or feelings not using words. So using circuits or light or something that they can program and code to kind of indicate, hey, I'm feeling kind of happy today, or I'm feeling a little bit, maybe a little bit off today. And
Wait,
could use
aren't
some
emojis
support.
supposed to be doing that for us? Are there
That
enough
too.
emojis?
We could do an emoji project.
I think that's probably already
getting
been done.
sidetracked.
That's why they have emojis, right?
But I think you bring up a good point, because another category that we often have, and we need a lot of expertise from folks out in the business world, out in the academic world, is behavioral sciences. Behavioral sciences, we have some kids who enter the science fair, and they're maybe a little bit more that humanities kid, or they're interested in, we've had kids look at, people's attitudes towards colors in different brands and marketing, or different historical looks at, attitudes towards recycling over time. But it's really not about the science itself, but more about the people, and then what that tells us in terms of the science and what we can do as a community to better support the things we know that we need to be doing based on people's attitudes.
How do students get to this event? Are there events held at every school, and then winners are chosen from those schools? Is that what we're looking at here?
Yes, we invite all of our schools in Gwinnett County proper. We are a regional fair of all schools, both Gwinnett County Public Schools and any other private or charter entities in the county. And so we do a big kickoff in the fall. We introduce a science fair, website's up and running. Anybody can affiliate with us. And then our local schools put on a science fair of the scope and proportion and how they want to do it at their school. And there's a lot of great local flavor. I was actually over at Seconder High School this past week, and they were doing a cluster-wide fair where they had the high school kids up on the third floor, and they had the middle school kids on the next floor. And y'all, it was 1,000 people of buzzing science excitement. There was a kiddo who programmed his own pacemaker, and he hands you the phone. He says, you can turn it on now. And he's got this heart model with water bottles and tubes, and it's just this whole model of a pacemaker running. A kid with a food delivery robot that he created the robot itself, and just had the data on how it keeps the food warmer than DoorDash does. It was just really kind of a neat thing to see what the kids were putting together. But our schools do that, and then they send on their winners to us, and it's just an exciting thing. And, I do want to also mention, shout out to our schools. They do a great job of helping all kids see themselves in STEM. I know that we've all probably had moments where we've seen ourselves or not in different aspects of a career field or a classroom. Our schools do a really great job of helping all kids see themselves in science fair. And so kids have the opportunity to do this, based on their interest and based on, just their want to do it, and not just because they're in this class or this program. It's really a great thing.
Let's go back to kind of judging and business involvement and leader involvement, apart from the school's involvement and the students' involvement. What are some of the ideal takeaways you guys are hoping for? I'm assuming there are judges that do this year after year after year after year. So the first takeaway is, hey, we'd love for you to have such a good time that you want to come back and do it again. But beyond just judging, I would imagine there's opportunities for relationship building. Talk a little bit about the takeaways for the businesses that get involved.
Yeah, so we're really looking at this as an opportunity for our students to learn from the judges, but it also be something that's beneficial for the judges the long term. We are seeking to really have homegrown STEM professionals, and our goal is that this is that first spot where the students can see themselves in these potential judges and those future careers, knowing that it's a local pathway. So I see that I had this judge, I had this interaction, we talked about material science together. That's my passion project. He's given me all of this feedback, but I also get to learn a little bit about that judge, about what his career is, and it really starts to give the students an opportunity to see themselves in these adults and essentially say, how can I come back? How could I come back to Gwinnett and do that? We have heard so many students afterwards when we talk about the judging experience, they give specific moments. I met this doctor from this particular space, and they gave me feedback around this, and I'm going to go back and take that, and I'm going to make my project better. And so it's a really cool opportunity to not only just give to the community, but these students are seeing themselves then in these potential careers and in the homegrown feel for it. So there's really a big opportunity there.
Absolutely.
And as far as the participation, you talked about obviously the judges go around. You also talked about the breakout. Mm-hmm. So if someone is a judge, I guess talk a little bit more about those breakouts. How do you staff them? Is it just kind of one-on-ones, or are judges bringing presentations? Just help me understand that a little bit better.
Yeah, so there's almost two elements. So we have our half for the actual judges that are boots on the ground in the expo that are talking to the students about their projects. And this year they're actually going to be in a panel style. So they'll work with a few other judges, so they'll have that expertise and ability to network with each other. For our breakouts, we tend to ask and seek for our sponsors to help with that. So it's still an opportunity, if interested, to be part of the breakout sessions as a sponsor. And basically what you'll do is you have about 30 minutes with students to really engage and interact with the students. We've had times where they're out there doing things with a STEM truck. We've had where they're actually pretending and trying to manipulate and do CPR and learn some of the health science aspects with PCOM Georgia. So there's different interactive pieces. It's not just to sit and listen, but it's really tell the story, talk about your field, talk about how what they're doing in their classrooms right now can transfer to those different worlds.
What are some of the differences between the math side and then the science side? You know, you got the Mentos and the Coca-Cola, which we will continue to go back to. But how is that specifically different than what you're looking for on the mathematical side?
Yeah, so I believe that in every good STEM project is math. Mm-hmm. So really what we're looking for is how can the math bring to life the project itself? So if we are to engage in any type of an experiment, any type of a project, they really have to have some data behind it. They have to have the statistics. They have to really be able to speak towards what the numbers are telling and then how they can make that educated decision from it. So a lot of times you might not see it as the math category, although we do have a math category. But
forgive me for interrupting, but would that be also like the debate teams that you would have and solve the problem for X and different things like that? Is there a competition that's involved with that? Would one school or one a child go against another?
So we do have that, but that's a kind of an external event that we have when that happens. Within this, though, there's an actual category where students can just really do some deep dive into mathematics to answer a problem. But usually what we'll see is in whatever their project is, there's some math behind it. So as we think about even some of those biggest projects, if you were to walk up to their board, you're going to see a plethora of data, and we're going to see different tables and different graphs that tell the story, and that's really how they're able to dig in with the judges in explaining what they found.
That's what I was. My follow-up was being able to answer some of those tough questions resolved around the data that you're finding.
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
And I would imagine there's some nerves that go with that. Some kids may not be as able to speak freely and without pause or nervous hesitations. So I guess they also would learn your ability to explain what you know is really critical in terms of how you advance it. You're both nodding like, yeah, we want to teach these kids how to be able to go against somebody who's older or more experienced and be able to be calm and confident and get to the next level, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Our goal is for in the classroom and the daily basis, we're teaching our students those competencies. How can we speak towards the math and science that we see, and how we can use it to answer a problem? So we're really looking at their ability to communicate effectively. That's a huge piece to this, because we can know all the math in the world, we can know all the science in the world, but if we cannot articulate what's happening to others, then we still miss the mark. And so really our goal is we're starting in the classrooms, and that's why you're seeing us smile, because that's a lot of the work that we're trying to do within our school system to really help nurture that skill and competency. But the art is when we're at the fair, those students really being able to bring it to life as they speak about their project.
And it's interesting, you talk about nerves. The kids get nervous, and we're actually doing some things this year with that big game kind of sports theme. We're going to have some science teachers, some really great folks in our district, help coaching the kids up and making them feel comfortable, because it's the first year we're back in person since 2020, and so when they get there, they're going to get a little coaching up and a little comfort before they get in front of that judge. But our judges sometimes, I know, might be hesitant about, what does this look like? What does this feel like? How do I do this right? If you haven't interacted with kids in a while, or even if you do it every year. So we do some training for our judges and help them feel that support too, so they don't just come in cold and have to try to make it up on the fly. There's a lot of good structures. So we have some great folks on our team that do some Zooms or some video supports that go out to our judges as they sign up if they want to get that little advanced support. But then the morning of, we train our judges really how to interact with our students, because some of our folks who come and judge maybe haven't interacted with an 11-year-old in a few years. And so it kind of helps them find that common ground and have some supports, but certainly be able to lend their expertise and use that in the judging process.
Harper, former NFL player as yourself, you could probably be available to give a nice hype speech, get them all, revved up, ready to take on the
You
fair.
wouldn't want a WWE wrestler?
Well, I could do the promo.
Let me tell you something, brother.
Yeah.
You
Well,
you
we
want
could
that?
do, so you and me together be a good team. I'd do the wrestling promo. The big overweight wrestler who's
in the ring,
well past his prime.
Yeah.
And then the still fit and active and just leader.
You're reaching.
I'm reaching. Okay, so let me do this. So speaking of winning,
Beat the man.
Oh,
You got to beat the man. Woo!
I'm so inspired right now. Okay.
I'm ready to go through a wall.
That's right. So all these students who are here have participated on a school level, and they've won.
The ladies,
they've won,
by the way, didn't appreciate
they probably
Ric Flair.
They've won the honor to be part of this fair. Talk a little bit about the winning at this fair, and what's the next step after this? I heard you say something about internationals. So talk about the next step, and then also, okay, I didn't necessarily win to go to internationals, but talk a little bit more about some of those other awards.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think for a lot of our kids in high school, they're shooting for going to the International Science Fair. It's sponsored by Regeneron. This year it happens to be in Dallas, Texas. So it comes with an all-expenses trip from our sponsors out to the International Fair, which is really exciting. So that's kind of the grand award, if you will. But we have some other great advancements that they can have. So our state fair is held up at UGA, go Dogs, up in Athens. And that will be in the spring, about a month after our fair. So the top 30 of our high school kids and about the top 16 middle school kids move on to the state fair, which offers a lot of other opportunity and awards. But we don't end just there. We are so supported by our community and our sponsors that our kids actually walk away often with scholarships. Our top senior projects can earn up to $3,000 in scholarships towards their next steps in college, which is great. And we even offer some project supports and STEM scholarships to our middle school kids to continue their projects, because one thing we do know is that to have some of our STEM equipment and the things that kids are doing today, it costs some money for this technology or these materials for their passion. And so our middle school kids even have an opportunity to earn $500 for a scholarship towards taking their STEM learning to the next level. And again, this is thanks to our partners. So really a great opportunity.
Yeah, and we talked about it earlier. We have 21 categories that students can participate within. And so we also just have the opportunity for them to place in their category. So just having that honor of knowing they made it to the regional fair and still placed first within that category. But we're also finding that a lot of sponsors, once they start to realize all of the different categories, are finding ways that they want to connect in that scholarship realm.
And I'll say, you may have seen even on the Gwinnett Daily Post within the last week or so, we've had a student at GSMST. Her name's Jean Yu. She was honored by Regeneron from her work last fair, so almost a full year ago. The project she entered is still getting awarded at the national level. She reached the top 300 for the Regeneron Talent Search, which is like a huge competition that's been around since the 1940s. And so she earned a $2,000 scholarship. She earned $2,000 for GSMST. So we want our students to, again, feel as supported as kids do on Friday night out at the football field or soccer field or basketball court. And so there's a lot of opportunity for scholarships and recognition because our kids are amazing.
If it's too late to get involved this year, is it maybe for the seniors, but for everybody else, is it too early to get started for next year, or to visit with the teacher or
You're talking to
an
two
advisor?
teachers. It's never too early.
No.
Never too early.
Yeah,
We like it early when we're in
That's
education.
a loaded question. So how would a kid go about getting involved if they're not involved right now, but they've got an interesting idea that's a little bit more than just a Mentos and a 2-liter bottle of Coca-Cola?
Yes, it's never too early. In terms of like officially starting the project, there's sort of a season for it, which would begin right after the regional fair. But we encourage kids to do right now is start to ideate, start to think about and put on paper, sketch out what it is that you think you have a solution for, what project you'd like to pursue. Sometimes our kids have ideas, but it also helps to see what's out there. And so we encourage our kids to engage on social media or on websites to check out what others are doing. And there's a great governing body for the International Science Fair, which is the Society for Science, and they have a lot of great things either on their social media or their web pages of projects that have won in the past or those categories that Debbie mentioned, so the kids can figure out, hey, I kind of have a passion for this, but where does it go? And so you all have me thinking, we had a project a couple of years ago of a middle school kid who actually did a mathematics project based on fantasy football scores and how to best approach your fantasy football team. Ooh. And he wound up winning and going to state, and this was a couple of years ago. So sometimes your passions can meet with science and math, and you can really
I get a copy of the results of his project, please?
I think he's probably selling them now. It seems like it was pretty successful. He's got a website I'm sure you can get a subscription to. But
subscription.
Yeah.
So Jessica said, write out your goals. Make goals, write them out. That's elementary 101, isn't it? Right?
Yep.
Just, hey, let's see what we do.
And that elementary lasts all our life, right? It's good to write out the goal. I mean, that's a lesson you learn.
Well, you've
in
told me how
school.
elementary I am when I think all the time. You always let me know.
You call me
that.
worse than that. So, but that's off. That's off the air. We're speaking with Jessica Holden and Debbie Johnson. Jessica with the Science Department of Gwinnett County Public Schools, and Debbie with the Math Department of Gwinnett County Public Schools. Both are overseeing they're the directors of the Gwinnett County Science Fair. And here's what I was going to ask as kind of my last question, because we've talked about this fair, which is taking place February 24th this year at the Gas South Convention Center. I assume it is at the convention center every year from here on out for the foreseeable future. And it is an annual event, people, and you guys are going to give the website and contact information. But and we've talked about businesses getting involved. There's still a need for judges, so go through that process, become a judge, and really interact with students and help them. I want to take it back down to the local level. If I'm a business owner listening to this, and I'm not Regeneron, and I'm not Amazon, and I'm not a big Fortune 500 company, I'm just a local business owner with a very small staff, or it's just me and I'm a solo practitioner. There's got to be ways for them to interact with their local school campuses. Talk a little bit about that and getting involved in math and science or any other way they want to get involved. What should people do?
Absolutely. It's a great question. Our schools do a really great job of really developing their local school council and really bringing in their own business partners that are sometimes very hyper-local to where the school is. They're right down the street or they're right across the street. We're right here down by McClure Health Science High School. We know that they have partners that they could, throw a rock and reach the different businesses that they're interacting with to get in the building on a daily basis with their kids. When it comes to, just schools in general, I would encourage businesses to, check out the website website. Start with the website of the schools that are in your area, the school you drive by on the way to work. Check out who the principal is. Feel free to reach out to that principal. Give them a call or give them an email. If they have something on their website about their business council or their community councils or different ways to get involved, often there may even be a form or something that they have more structured. I would check that out. But start to make those connections, make those relationships. Our principals do a great job of reaching out and connecting with the community.
What we can say is that schools are always looking for more partnerships. So never assume that they don't want that help. They would be eager and willing and open arms to join that partnership. So feeling free to just reach out to some of those schools that might be local to you within the area. And that's a great spot to begin. And if science fair is your passion, we know that the coordinators that are local at the school, which is really where the boots on the ground work begins with those teacher leaders, would be more than happy to have some mentorship that happens at the beginning part of the project for students before they come to the fair. And then, of course, all are welcome, no matter small or large for your business. We would love to have everyone at the regional fair as a judge.
I've learned a lot.
Yeah. It's almost like we've been interviewing two teachers.
It's amazing and they had told me to set goals. How would people find out more about what Jessica and Debbie have to offer and get in touch?
I wonder
do you
if
have
they
any
have
idea how you should
Well,
do
I
that?
don't have the answer key, but again, we have two teachers. I bet one of them knows the answer of how people can get involved.
We've got a great resource for that. It's called GwinnettScienceFair.com, and we have some great resources there just so you can even see what this event looks like, because it's just really fun. I just have to say it's a bucket filler for us and for the community. It's exciting and it's a great event. So check it out. You can see a video of what it looks like, GwinnettScienceFair.com. You can navigate to the judging page where you can fill out a quick form. Let us know, again, which categories that Debbie mentioned that you might be comfortable or have the expertise in judging, and then we hand schedule you with projects that meet your expertise. So it's really a great experience. You're not going to come in and judge a bunch of random projects. We're really going to leverage you for your expertise.
And I don't want to be Johnny Raincloud over here, but this is not open to the general public. You can't just walk in. I mean, there's crowd control and all that. So if you want to get involved, if you want to see it other than the website, which I'm sure has great stuff, you've got to be a judge.
That is correct.
Okay.
Yes.
I think that's a reasonable obstacle to overcome.
But we feed you lunch and we feed you a light breakfast, and there's coffee.
So there is
and
food.
There's bonus on top of
There's
meeting
food
with the kids.
and thumping music. I think
You're
we're both there.
you're in.
I think
Yeah.
we're both there. And just I'll wrap up with this because I appreciate you guys answering the question the way you did. Whether it's reaching out to a local principal, if you have a neighbor who's a teacher, there's something. If it's not science and math related at the science fair, then it's a career day. I have a friend who teaches middle school who does a Shark Tank project type where he's always looking for judges. There is something that you can get involved in. And again, let's be honest, Gwinnett County Public Schools is a giant, vast organization. It might take a little bit of poking and prodding and some hoops you got to jump through because of how big the entity is, but there's a lot of people who care about kids who are looking for some help. And if the business community just says, what do you need? Even if it's cleaning up or it's just getting involved, everybody can find a way to get involved. So I'd encourage everybody. One more time, the website for the science fair.
Yes, it's www.GwinnettScienceFair.com. Check it out. We'd love to have you as a judge.
Jessica Holden with the Science Department, Debbie Johnson with the Math Department of Gwinnett County Public Schools, and the directors of the Science Fair. Thank you guys so much for being here. And thank you for not having the argument on air of which is better, math or science. They interlock and work together, right?
Yes,
They sure do.
Absolutely.
Thank you guys for being here.
Thank you so much.
To be the man, you gotta beat the man. Woo!
Or you got to come up with a fantastic science project that'll win the Gwinnett County Science Fair.
Yeah, I wasn't ready to referee between these two.
Not at all. Not at all. Want to remind everybody that Gwinnett Business Radio is brought to you by Regions Bank. We all know that keeping your company's financial future on track means having the right resources to support your growth. Regions Commercial Banking offers you lending capabilities and strategic solutions tailored to your needs, and you'll work with a team of experienced bankers here in Gwinnett. Discover steps to take that can help move you closer to your business goals. Regions is here to help. To learn more, visit regions.com/commercial-banking. Regions Bank.
Member
FDIC. Harper, I want to thank you for being my support, being my offensive line today. Couldn't have done it without you.
I just know that I need to go get an app. It's not just Mentos. I need to have an app to teach. So there's next level thinking going on right now that I'm I'm so far behind.
They did their job. They got you to next level thinking. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Want to remind everybody that Gwinnett Business Radio is brought to you by BusinessRadioX.com. You can follow us on your favorite podcasting platform or social media platform. Just look for @Gwinnett Radio X. So, for our producer Mike Salmon and for my trusty co-host Harper LaBelle, this is Stephen Julian, your slightly annoying host, saying we will catch you next time on Gwinnett Business Radio.